Hello, this is Heshie Kantankowitz coming to you from the Hebrew Home for the Aged, where we never know if that's death knocking on your door or they're just coming to bring you supper. So, President Trump has COVID. How the hell am I supposed to feel about that? Of course, I don't wish sickness on anyone. On the other hand, I have at times expressed in Yiddish a certain frustration toward him. Läufen sollst du in Beis HaKisa jede 3 Minuten oder jede 3 Chadoshim. Naturally, for guidance, I turn to the writings of the great Jewish rabbis. Amazing what you can find on the internet. Guard thy mouth from uttering an unseemly word. The Talmud. The hatred of one's fellows drives a person from the world. Rabbi Joshua ben Hananiah. The arts help complete a person. Henry Winkler. And you know what I say about all that? Bullshit! There is only one thing that can help understand what's going on right now. It's the most fundamental and essential principle of Judaism, the force of the universe that every Jew knows controls everything and determines our fate. The laws of Kenahara. Kenahara says that whenever you say something is going to happen, the exact opposite occurs. The ancient Israelites said, relax, pitch camp, we're only going to stay here a night. 40 years in the desert. In 1881 was one of the worst pogroms in Jewish history. Hundreds murdered. And all because a week earlier, Shmeka Leibowitz said, I think we're going to get along fine with the Russian peasants. Kenahara is why Jews always imagine the worst and they're always so negative. My daughter will be a high school dropout and become addicted to drugs and spend her whole life in jail. The next day she gets accepted to Harvard. It was the great mystical medieval Jewish scholars studying the mysteries of the Zohar and the spinning flaming Aleph who figured out what you have to say to keep a curse at bay. Kenahara, Kenahara, poo, poo, poo. Looks like I'm going to get a raise next year. Kenahara, Kenahara, poo, poo, poo. Our daughter would never marry a Gentile. Kenahara, Kenahara, poo, poo, poo. Now, let's review what Trump has said about the virus. And after all these statements, did anyone think to say, Kenahara, Kenahara, poo, poo, poo? Of course Trump got infected. One day, historians will look back on this time and ask, how could they let Ivanka convert to Judaism if she wasn't on a hair trigger to say, Kenahara, Kenahara, poo, poo, poo? Was Jared so assimilated that he'd forgotten that optimism always leads to disaster? So now the question becomes, what does Kenahara have to do with how I feel about Trump? Good question. I have to figure that one out. Aha! This is a very subtle point. The difference between karma and Kenahara. Karma says there is morality and justice in the universe. Everything turns out all right. Kenahara says everything turns out wrong. The universe is a joke, and the joke is always on you. The tragedy and comedy of existence. You recoil in horror that it could end so badly. And on the other hand, it's kind of funny. Donald Trump, I wish you well and a speedy recovery. This is Heshie Kantankowitz coming to you from the Hebrew Home for the Aged, where we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, wondering how that metaphor makes sense for anybody.